G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a lever-action shotgun. Just like the lever-action shotgun from Fallout New Vegas, this one bears a striking resemblance to the Winchester Model 1887, which was the first repeating shotgun. They made it lever-action because the Winchester at that time had a very good reputation for lever-action rifles, so they made a lever-action shotgun. But they were going to produce a pump-action shotgun a little bit later on, but for some reason, this old girl is still kicking, despite being a post-apocalypse, what is 200 or so years from now. It's still going. Perhaps this thing is easy to produce. The gun runners can replicate these things easily, so that's why they're still around. And good old-fashioned Winchester reliability. You can't go past it. Has custom sounds. No, it doesn't. That's false. Animations, though, that's a thing. Obviously, it's got a weird ejection port where they inject straight into your face, so better wear your safety eyewear because those hot 20 gauge shells, the casings of the things, the cartridges, they're going to burn your eyeballs, so safety first. Throw those sunglasses on. We're doing 129 damage right now, but we can increase that to 250, which is, I think, your standard sort of combat shotgun range of damage. Obviously, not going to be quite as effective as a combat shotgun because it's lever action, doesn't have as high of a magazine capacity either. This thing has 7 rounds at a maximum. It's got the bullet counted reload system, so we'll always reload exactly how much we need, unless sometimes it wants to reload 6, then I can't manually reload that last one in. Not really sure how it works. It's a flawed system, but you know, you take it rather than reloading 7 when you've only expended less than 7, like 1 or 2 rounds, and a full reload. Alright, next up we've got barrels. You can increase this range, the long barrel. Now, I wonder if that's going to increase the ammo capacity, because this tube, you see, is where all of the ammunition is stored. That's your sort of magazine for this thing. So, if that doesn't increase our ammo capacity, I'm going to be very surprised. And now we've got stocks. So you can have a sawn-off, a spiked version, which is just asking for trouble. We've also got an improved version of the sawn-off with a little bit of tape around the handguard there. A spiked version, which again is just asking for trouble. But if you run out of ammo and the barrel's not too hot and you won't burn your fingers on it, you could probably use this as some sort of pick or an axe or something. There's a weapon in and of itself right there, which is nice. And you could probably back this thing to, you know, be hit multiple people without it breaking as well, because they built them tough back then. There was also an improved one with some cloth wrapped around the handguard there and some shells stacked there. It doesn't increase your reload speed, at least it doesn't say that it does, but it would be cool if that was the case, that it actually did. And now we can look at the different rounds. So I talked about this on the I said a cloth. That's clearly leather. I didn't actually notice that. It's leather, so that's even better. But I noticed on the T6M shotgun there wasn't any sort of extra extraneous things you could do to give yourself extra flavor. So this one you can have buckshot, glass chunk shot, which is kind of cool. Bleed damage for less damage overall might be useful for just if you want to lay into a target and you have to worry about them soaking up that damage in the armor. As a reminder, this thing is shooting the projectiles 8 or possibly 7. All of that damage is going to be split up between those projectiles, meaning your armor or enemy's armor in the game will easily soak up the damage. So shotguns tend to be a little bit of a wet rag when it comes to, I get more damage out of a pool noodle when it comes to using these on very hard difficulty, but we'll give it a shot. We've also got junk shot here, which gives you a bit of poison damage because you're shooting rusty screws and nails, so kills them real fast with tetanus. Unfortunately, that's only sort of valid against human enemies, because you'll find a lot of the creatures in this game are immune to poison, but the flavor is there nonetheless. I can appreciate it. Dragon's Breath does fire damage and also range. Doesn't do anything to the range. The slug just makes it a big old bullet. You get extra damage, more consistent damage, extra range and accuracy, as well as you'd expect out of a singular slug. There's also Flechette, increased armor penetration and tighter spread, lessened damage though, so perhaps a nice trade-off if you want to do less damage overall, but penetrate armor better, then armored targets will probably be a little bit easier to kill with the Flechette. Also, you can have a version of a Magnum buckshot, which does more damage than your standard buckshot, which is nice. You've also got a pulse slug as well, an addition from New Vegas. It's a gunrunner's arsenal thing, which is really cool. The pulse slug concept is awesome, and I'm really glad they put this in this mod. And then you've got this one, which ruins it. It's Bubba's Hot Load buckshot. And it's got the Idiot Savant rank there for the requirement. Yeah, okay. A little bit silly, but we'll move on. And we've also got plasma slugs as well, so that'll give you a little bit of extra energy damage along with it. So that's really cool. We're going to go for a Magnum buckshot just to increase our damage out to 287. It's pretty respectable for a shotgun. We need every single damage we can get. And we won't use the joke receivers because that's a little bit silly, don't you think? And you have a reflex sight, either dot or circle, just like the lever action rifle from Far Harbor. And short and medium scopes for all of your slug sniping needs. You can turn this into like a lever action rifle. There's also options for muzzle brakes and spiked ones, but they decrease your range, so don't even bother. No suppressor option on this thing, unfortunately. Legendary effect provided by legendary modification. We'll leave that. And you can change it from a standard animation to a spin animation. It looks different in first person. It's cool. We'll check it out on a different shotgun, but for now, this is what we're going with, and we'll add a few more of these to my inventory, and we'll get started. Okay, before we start shooting at gunners, I want to show you where the unique version is. Normally, this thing is injected onto the leveled list at level 10, but there's a unique version sitting here at the Felon's Department Store, which is right here, just a bee's dick away from Gunners Plaza, sort of smack dab in the middle of South Boston here. There's also Egret Tours Marina, the castle's over there. If you found the giant green people, you've come to the right place, and you want to go straight through past the escalators into this back room here, and then you'll find this room tucked away underneath this section here next to this staircase. Run through there and you'll find this man called Corpse with bouquet.
Yes.
It's got some flowers on it. Isn't that pretty? 25% faster fire rate, 50% faster reload, and a little bit of energy damage thanks to the pulse slug rounds. That's helpful. Righto, so we're outside of the immersive Gunners Plaza once again, going at it with a shotgun, but this time we've got VATS. It's VATS, but it's like bullet time VATS. So if I aim down sights, you'll notice that I've got 0 criticals. I'm pretty sure I filled that up earlier. I've got one ready to go, however, and if I hit this mouse button, it goes into slow-mo bullet timing mode. My AP's bleeding away, and the criticals I can manage using the control button, because I'm not a troglodyte who uses control for shift, unless I'm playing Fortnite. Anyway, so as those gunners engage the local insect population, here is what our Model 1887 lever action shotgun looks like in third person. Everything's well... it looks great. The textures look great. It looks a little bit worn, which you'd expect out of a multi-century-old rifle, or perhaps the materials made in stamping this one at the Gunrunners Arsenal facility, using the wasteland scrap to make it, has left it a little bit dirty outside. And I've also got bouquet on this as well. I haven't modified this at all. Using the pulse slugs I think is fine, and I'm thinking I'll shoot those turrets with the rounds like that. So this one here, the short-barreled one, it's got the Bubba's receiver on it, so it'll do a whole lot more damage, but since it's got a shorter barrel, you'll find that it hasn't got a lot of ammo capacity. It's only one less than the medium, and the longer barrel only has that one more, so I think that's kind of interesting. Anyways, it is time to begin. Did you just try to gun bash from back there? So, as you might reasonably expect, we might be flogging VATS for the rest of this video, even though it gives you like a damage penalty for some reason. I don't know why it does that, but at least I can get those slow-mo cheap VATS headshots. That's really cool. And if we want to switch over to do something else, we can do that. Oh, of course, we've got this one with the pulse slugs. We could probably use that, and we've got a crit ready to go, so for some reason I'm not generating any crits, but what can you do, eh? I believe that was the crit. Was that not it? I don't know. I'm pressing the right button, but we don't have to do this with any crits. That's fine. So the range on this thing, it's pretty much a lever action rifle now, firing a giant plasma-infused slug, but we're kind of getting overrun here. This is where I might call on my friend Gunfu and VATS to help me out. This is probably not the right weapon for it, to be honest, especially since for some reason I cannot crit. I gotta hold it down? I'll go spacebar. No, that just makes me jump. Yeah, I think the trouble here is we got a Grim Reaper sprint activation there. That's helpful. The problem here is that the rate of fire isn't sped up under, like, it's still the same fire rate as normal time. Oh, the mysterious stranger showed up. Who's he gonna shoot at? Absolutely no one. He's gonna soak up the... Wait, you still there? No. all the gunners are really fixated though. I'm gonna go over here now because I'm currently knee-deep in gunners, and that's not where I want to be. We'll whack an extra lot of shells in this thing. We've stopped at 6, however. I think the bullet counting reloading system, it's bugged. It's just hard to do. Alright, I think the Mysterious Stranger could handle that guy. Yep, I see the XP come in. They all start shooting at the Mysterious Stranger over me, which is odd. Oh, he's still going. Oh, he's got a health bar. Oh, okay. Okay, I did not realize that was a synergy. I thought he'd show up, shoot the guy, and leave like he usually does. But no, he's just summoned. So if I've got someone close to death, may as well just keep shooting at him. Maybe take the weaker shots so they don't die as easy. Ah, that's interesting. Okay, I've activated Nerd Rage, and I've also tweaked the buttons used to activate the critical. There it is. Oh, as it turns out, I got more criticals ready to go. Oh, we are so back. Oh, that's so good. And we've got a bunch of AP. I believe was that a Mysterious Stranger proc? Okay, I gotta be a little bit more frugal on my critical use, I think. Although, that's pretty helpful. If we get a freebie, we may as well use it, right? We could probably hope that we've got maybe the chance of that showing up. Actually, never mind. I'm almost dead again. Okay, perhaps we want to use this version. Although I probably need to be up at very close range to get this to actually work properly. And I don't have VATS protection anymore, do I? Okay, I don't think this is going to work outside. It's simply too slow. It's an early game weapon as if it spawns in at level 10, so we'll just go inside. Now, what I find interesting about this is it gives you a really good contrast between the difference between mag-fed shotguns versus ones that you have to reload the shells in one by one. Because the T6M shotgun that I used the other day, the handmade, which is like a Sega 20, well, that just crushed it. It crushed Immersive Gunners Plaza. Granted, I could use VATS, and that was definitely helping me. But still. Use the critical on Mr. Brigadier. Oh, excellent. Maybe I'll just keep Mr. Mysterious Stranger alive. No, okay, he just went away that time. I'm not sure what causes him to go away or not. Anyways, we'll use the pulse slugs on the turrets, because that would make sense to use it on a entity that would be weaker to that. Also, we've got the spinning reloads, which are active when you're not aiming down sights. If you are aiming down sights, the repeating action, the rechambering action is just the standard. But if you are hip firing this thing, and despite it looking really cool, it'll hurt your performance a bit. I timed the reload poorly there, because it will make you fire slowly, slower. I think you've got one too, do you? You do as well. It's a battle of the shotguns. I won. Hooray for me. Alright, next up. One gunner. Crit time. There we go. As a reminder, the short-barreled one with the little bayonet thingy stock there. Hey, we got a proc. I just bashed someone and I got a critical out of it. Thanks, 4-leaf clover. But yeah, now that we are fighting a vanilla amount of enemies, this thing, it's in its element. It's in its depth, so that's great. And you can just see every now and then the gun just sort of shifting around. And that's just because it's funny like that. It's the bullet counting reloading system. That's just all it is. A little bit bugged, and I saw a video talking about the design of the Starfield guns, and the guy noticed that there was bugs on the bullet counting reloading system that have seemed to have existed in Starfield. So it's a classic case of maybe Bethesda using the mod to get their own system done, and they've obviously brought the bugs in with it. But I thought that was kind of interesting when I heard that. I don't know how valid that is. It might not be true at all, just coincidental, of course. But intriguing nonetheless. This one here, slug. That man's got a Gauss rifle. Ah, yes, good old-fashioned sniper knockdowns. Okay, now that I know I can do that, it'd probably make a lot of sense for me to grab a version with a scope and just use like a buckshot or as many projectiles as I can possibly get. Hang on, that's the wrong one. Right? That's it. There we go. Making use of those pulse slugs, damn it. And give me a moment, please. Okay, I'm kind of standing in front of these gunners and taking a lot of unnecessary fire. But the shotgun in vanilla settings is doing quite well, and we'll just dodge that Molotov that dude threw. There we go. A Grim Reaper Sprint gives us a crit proc, so we'll utilize it here. Like Gunner Captain. I tell you what, this VATS system is really satisfying. If I was using it with a sniper, I'd be going off constantly. Tell you what, I might even, if there's a sniper mod that I haven't covered yet, I'd like to check it out using this VATS system so I can chain easy headshots in slow motion and hope that the sneak kills get him in one shot, so that I might just continue cheaply getting headshots until we finish. But there we go. It's succeeded in the standard inside of Gunner's Plaza. We're looking a little worse for wear, but we can throw one of these in and we'll be fine. So I mentioned yesterday, and for those of you who weren't watching yesterday, I talked about how I was sort of messing around with the weight triangles here. And, you know, Bridget's supposed to be a big, tough gunner, and, you know, I've given her big, strong, broad-looking shoulders. The inspiration here was Gina Carano, whereas everyone else has a Margot Robbie inspiration. So, you know, she's strong because she's a gunner, mercenary, wasteland tough mate. And for my next trick, I'm going to knock this guy down continuously using a short scope, but with the more, shall we say, explosive touch to it. Oh yeah, that's good. Now I wonder if the explosive rounds count as that extra hit, and whether that factors into the chance of the sniper knockdown taking place. I'm not sure. What I am sure of though is that we're quite out of range at the moment, and these criticals, they're not going to come in cheap, so we're just going to keep on hitting him until he dies. Honestly, if you run too close to me, Ghoul, that's your own fault. Nope, he's out of here. Good call. Oh, I think we killed him. He fell through the earth. Well, that's a win. Idiot. Also, here's something that I sort of mentioned earlier about shells flying directly into your face. Just watch the ejected casings. Like, there's absolutely no clearance. My eyelids are being seared off from that every time I shoot. So, you know, we're only aiming with one eye. Also, did I generate a crit from shooting that house? If I snipe something, like, there's some bears down there. Will I get the same amount of crit generation that I would get otherwise? I'm not sure. Also, I wouldn't have thought this would have been so stingy, because it's like every 4 shots I get a crit under normal circumstances in VATS. Every 4 bursts if I'm using an automatic thing, but now I gotta shoot something 20 times to get like half of a crit, you know? I'm not really sure. You can tweak all the balances, but I've just left everything as stock, and we gotta respawn Swan again. Oh look, he's there now, and also looks different, doesn't have his gigantic stick. Take that. A 3.9 times sneak critical. There you go. Now, I wonder if this guy's just going to decide to bug out. He might, you know. Nice little pirouette there. We're just going to keep shooting at him. We'll crawl a little bit closer. I suppose if he's down on the ground, there's no reason to keep, like, knocking him down. That might cause issues as we go further. I got to balance standing close enough to him to get the full damage of our shotgun, and... Okay, looks like I can sort of keep the fire rate going normally if I just let the reloads happen between. I somehow get 2 rounds in sometimes. That's pretty good. Just a normal bullet count and reloaded thing. That's fine. He landed directly onto his head. That's surely some head trauma right there. Okay, probably time to use VATS. I've got some criticals ready to go, so let's utilize them. Oh, Mysterious Stranger's shown up. Now, the question is he going to keep firing at him until he dies? May as well crit this again. There we go. He's probably gonna turn around and get smacked. Yep, there he goes. Honestly, I could have prevented that by knocking him down before he even got that shot in. Oh well. Drop, I say. There we go. Holy God. You know what? Keep going, bro. Keep going. Alright, we got 2 crits out of all of that nonsense. Is it, like, damage-based? Oh, he's going to aggro all the creatures around here, too. He's going to eat them and feast upon them to gain strength. Just like, what's his name in the Skyrim? The Dragon Man. I forget his... That's Elderwin. How did I forget that? Okay, no time for VATS now. VAFs, as it were. Gotta love how it's all sort of in slow motion and the physics go all wonky. And I'm currently making him do a... I dunked him in the lake. I don't know if he's gonna come out. I've never seen a super mutant swim before, so that might be worth the win by itself. Oh, maybe it's a timer thing. It'd be funny if he just sort of stood around. Now, the problem here is that he's completely stuck in that lake, and I don't even know if he can make it out. I'm guessing he could, like, potentially path it out, but I could just knock him down. Since physics works a little bit weird underwater, you'll find that he's just sort of stuck there, and there's a little bit of a current. He has to stop in that current to actually get up from his animation. So as far as slam dunking enemies into lakes and cheap shotting them in the arse goes, this is succeeding where you wouldn't have thought it would have. As I'll go the crit for good measure and guarantee some of these VAT shots in here. This is like shooting super mutant behemoth fish in a barrel. Fish in a barrel. This is where the saying come from. They logged onto Fallout 4 one day and thought, hey, this person really wants to see this shotgun. So they did what they could to make sure they'd survive the fight against the monster. And what happened? They ended up shooting at a behemoth that they couldn't even see in the water for 20 minutes. Actually, he's around. That almost killed me. Okay. He stomped at the bottom of the lake and I almost died. Oh boy, it's the Loch Ness Monster. He's returned. And now we can actually see what we're shooting at. Oh, excellent. He's returned. Let's use his critical now. A very dramatic falling over. Alright, so obviously this thing was punching above its weight for the immersive Gunner's Plaza, so we kind of had to cheese this fight, but I think you get the idea. For an early to mid-game shotgun, I think this thing has you covered well, and if you do like this thing back in New Vegas, then there's probably a sense of nostalgia you can pick up from using this. And of course, if you're not playing on Todd Bullet Sponge very hard difficulty, you'll probably find this is a little bit more effective than what you've seen here. But other than the quirks of its bullets and reloading, which is not a fault of this mod at all, I think this is a pretty well-designed functional weapon and would highly recommend the download to anyone who is interested. I don't usually do mods from this mob because one of them come into my comment section and started insulting the commenters, which I didn't particularly like. So we probably won't see too much else from them unless I get actual requests to see it happen. But you know, at least they're doing some good work. I just wish that they'd conduct themselves a little bit better. I'm talking about you, Pignus. Anyways, thank you for watching. See you next time. Download your mod if you're interested.